Welcome everybody to Educator Circle. Today we have a special guest from Fulton County Schools, Mr. Aaron Collins. His school system is located in Hickman, Kentucky, and I had the opportunity to work with his school system. I'm going to share my screen so that you can see a little bit about Aaron before we start. This was an amazing group of educators that I got a chance to work with last summer. He had his lead principals and assistant superintendents all go to a retreat in Nashville where I got a chance to train them, and we had a blast.
We did.
And then later I came back and trained his teachers on the very first day of school where they had a major construction project going on. But they were such troopers, and it was amazing. But you know, I have discovered, as you know, our country is in a great crisis with the pandemic, and I discovered some best practices that Fulton County was doing under the leadership of Superintendent Collins. And we're going to talk a little bit about, if you don't, a lot of you are in a situation. Okay, superintendents, this is for you to tune into right now. Principals, those of you who are part of a charter school where you may not have a central office, a district, listen to some of the best practices that Aaron here has put in place in situations where there are problems that nobody knows how to deal with, that we've yet to solve in our country, which is problems with persistent poverty, the differences in resources and how we educate our children across the nation. And so I'm going to let Aaron just kind of tell you a little bit about the unique issues to his region where he serves as an educator and how his district is combating these issues. Tell us a little bit, Aaron, about your county and really your region.
Well, I appreciate that, Dr. Lisa, and thank you for having me on, and thank you for your support of Fulton County Schools and for our community and for our region. I grabbed off my desk if everyone saw I was reaching for something. This is something that we did with Dr. Lisa, and I keep it on my desk. And inside here is a light bulb, and these are then different shapes and sizes of marbles, and they're all very unique. They're all very, very different. And the whole idea, I think, you know, with this is, first of all, was the whole idea is that these represent our children, and they have different needs. They need different supports, but we need to save them all. And they're all important. And so this really, I appreciate Dr. Lisa then sharing that ideology with us. And so that's what we're trying to do. And I think that this is the idea then of what we're talking about when it comes to equality, is that I need to make sure that each unique student here is being supported in education. If this represents education, and then each student then has their own uniqueness within education. And I can't treat them all equal. They all need different assistance and help. And so that's what we've tried to do in Fulton County Schools. We are a small district of less than 1,000 students. We are on the Mississippi River in the westernmost county in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Only about 5,800 people live in our entire county, so it is rural, and we make up the Mississippi Delta. And so even as I go to work, I live here in the county. My family, we have 4 children. They go to school here at Fulton County Schools. And so I drive 15 miles from the house to school. 8 of those 15 miles, I do not have phone service. There's no phone service. And guess what? Many times, if there's no phone service, there's no internet service.
Right.
Ironically, I was talking today to our local company and talking with them about, what's next for cable, for phone service, for fiber. And it's very difficult to have service. So even as today, and we'll talk about this more, as I was on a school bus today, we have to bring with us, we have to bring radios. And so we have updated our radios, and we have a repeater at the highest point in our county that's able to help us with the radio signal and be able to get one across the county. But we are persistent poverty, and we make up the very top of the Mississippi Delta. So that has its unique challenges. We then do not have a lot of finances from our county. We're a rural county where farming, agriculture is the livelihood for many of our community members. And so we have very low tax base. Our parents rent, many times we'll talk to them about what their rent is running. It's running $375 to $425 a month. So there's not a lot of financial infrastructure. In fact, our funding mainly comes from the state, as well as federal government, federal programs such as Title I and Title II, not from our local community, just because they're not able to support us. And so I was talking to someone recently about technology. We are doing non-traditional instruction, but for us, it looks very, very different, because 35% of our families do not have access to a laptop, to a computer, and then to internet service. So that's a small percentage that even has access. So there's no real reason for us to go and spend that kind of money on technology if they're not able to use the technology. Now, for our school district, we're blessed. Lisa, when you were here, as you know, you can walk our entire campus and you'll never lose internet service. And so we have a good speed, and it's wonderful here on campus. But if you get off campus, it's sketchy. And then to keep technology, as you know, there's infrastructure that you have to have in place. You have to have then people hired to be able to look over that technology.
Mm-hmm.
And technology gets old.
Right.
I mean, it changed yesterday. I mean,
Right.
Literally. I remember Secretary of Education used to say that here in the state of Kentucky. Technology changed yesterday. And when you think about that, that is so true. So then the money that it takes to keep technology going every 3 to 5 years and computers is really a challenge. And in fact, I said it this way. I don't know that it's even possible for a rural impoverished district to go to 1-to-1. I don't think it's even feasible with the way that the money is set up to do it.
Mm-hmm.
The only ways I'd even see doing it is if you have school improvement funds to improve academics, and then you can put the money into technology. But then you've got to be careful, because then you've got to think, okay, what am I going to do 5 years from now? Because once you put in 1-to-1, what's your community then going to want to do, Dr. Lisa? They're going to want to keep the 1-to-1.
When you say that, one of the issues that we're most pressed with right now is this pandemic. And so you emphasize the fact that you do not have strong internet away from the school. And as our audience knows, everyone is away from the school right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so your solutions for the pandemic issue, or any time that the children are away from the school, are not the same solutions that I've been giving the rest of our audience. I've been telling everyone in America, here's what you do. And I've been giving them online instructional resources in addition to other resources, but primarily advising them based on budgets. Well, if your budget's low and you need free programs, I've been telling them to use sources like Khan Academy because
They're out there.
it's free,
Absolutely.
but that's not helping you all. So tell America a little bit about your solutions, because you've had to quickly put academic issues, resolve academic issues and issues with poverty, because your children rely on coming to school for being able to eat and be able to have food and be able to have resources and school supplies. And how have you been able to do this?
So the school is our lifeblood of our community. That's just what it is. So this is one way of doing it. This is called a telephone. And so we have been making a lot of phone calls and checking in on our families. We gave out our phone numbers to our families so they can call us here at school. But we have to meet their needs. And as you know, for poverty, and you can talk about this, Dr. Lisa. I know some of the research that you've done on this when it comes to poverty and food insecurity. Those that have food insecurity and poverty are not going to come to us. So the first thing before all this starts, number one, is building relationships with your families. You have to build relationships, know where they're at, know where they live. Every one of our administrators in our district has ridden a school bus before. Mm-hmm. So they've seen the routes, they've seen the young people, they've seen the students, they've seen the families, they've seen where they live, they see the places that they live in, they have seen homes flooded. Again, we live in the Mississippi Delta area, so that is a problem that we have on a regular basis. So we need to meet them. When all this, we got notice that this was probably going to happen probably late Wednesday evening. Thursday morning, we met with administration. By Thursday at 1 o'clock, we had a plan for non-traditional days. We went and talked to our faculty and staff at 3:30. At 4 o'clock, I was on a teleconference press conference with the governor announcing that we were going to be closing school on Monday. At 6 o'clock, I was in an emergency board meeting on that same day on Thursday. Our emergency board members passed our NTI days.
Now tell everybody, since we have other states that are listening, tell everybody what Kentucky is calling NTI Day.
So NTI is non-traditional instruction. So pretty much what it is not in the classroom at the school.
So these count as instructional days.
They do.
So that you will not have to make them up on the calendar. And that was approved by the legislation in Kentucky.
Yes, actually it was the extra days, NTI days by law can be up to 10 days.
Okay.
And that was approved by legislation a few years ago.
Okay.
And then you can ask for 10 days, and then you have to have a plan and how education is going to look each one of those days. The idea for NTI, non-traditional instructional days, were snow days, flu. If you had 2 or 3 days of flu and you need to take those days, then you could do 2 or 3 days. They were never designed to do 10 days in a row of non-traditional instruction. So with the pandemic, we've had to change some of that. But we never did NTI days because we never missed a whole lot. We had some days built in, and it never really messed up our calendar. We were able to get our instruction days in. We already do extra hours. So we really didn't feel like a need for NTI. And we knew, too, so many people, when we ever talked to NTI, was immediately talking about how they were educating students on the computer.
Uh-huh.
That's not going to really help us.
Right.
So when we did this plan on Thursday, we pretty much did it from start to beginning in 3 hours, had the board meeting at 6 o'clock, emergency board meeting, had it to Kentucky Department of Education by 8:30, and they approved it by 8:30 Friday morning.
Oh, wonderful.
So with that, and the big part of the NTI days is that what we have tried to do here at Fulton County Schools is no barriers. Take away the barriers. So let's talk about barriers of poverty. We talked about food, right? Mm-hmm. We can talk about not having books at the house. We can talk about not having school supplies at the house. We can talk about not having colored pencils or markers, so on and so forth. Well, that starts adding up, doesn't it? But our students need to be taken care of. So pretty much we went with the ideology, whatever barrier it is, we're going to remove it. So we thought, okay, let's first take care of food. Everyone's running to grocery stores. There's nothing on the shelves. Milk is gone. Toilet paper's gone. I mean, there's, all things are gone. But you know what we still get every day here at Fulton County Schools? We still get a milk truck delivery.
Yeah.
So we're able to, what commodity everyone's looking for right now where we live here is milk. And we've got it. So we said, okay, what's the best way to do this? Let's take our bus routes. Let's take our afternoon bus routes and do our drop-offs, afternoon drop-off routes. And those are our largest routes anyways. We take more students home than we pick up in the mornings.
Okay.
So let's take those routes and let's take food, supplies. So we did an all-call. Again, we have to be careful about technology. Everyone seems to have one of these, phone. Oh, I'm getting a phone call. Everyone seems to have a phone. And so we do an all-call, and that's the main messaging. And so we said, okay, if it takes like 35 minutes for you to be dropped off from school, we're going to leave at 10:30, take 35 minutes from that. Then when we're going to be at your house to have food. And so our food service is still working. We appreciate USDA. Thank you for approving our waiver. Again, Kentucky Department of Education has done an excellent job with these waivers and talking to the federal government and talking to them what our needs are. And so that was approved. Julie Jackson that you met, our director of operations, she did all the paperwork through the state. That was approved within 24 hours. And so we're taking meals, both breakfast and lunch at one time. You've got to be careful about this and time and so on and so forth. So we leave at 10:30 with a bag with breakfast and lunch. And when I say bag, that means each student that we see, we hand them a bag with breakfast. And it's a hot meal. Today we had riblet sandwiches. They were great. They were wonderful. Yesterday we had corn dogs, and they also did chicken strips as well. We have warmer coolers that we purchased at a nominal price. Again, our food service department does a really good job of supplying what we need. And so we have warmers. We keep the food warm. We have coolers. We keep the milk cool. And so we get on the bus. There's four or five of us on one bus. Today, the bus that I was on, we delivered 78 meals. So that's one bus doing 78 meals. As a total, we have approximately 645 students right now. And today we delivered 636 meals.
Amazing.
Yesterday, we delivered 565 meals. And I'm not saying it's a science, and we don't have it down to a science. We're very flexible. Yesterday, it took us 4 hours to do our route. But I tell you what happened. We had some routes where a lot of students met at a bus stop, and we realized they weren't coming to the bus stop. And so we just went towards them and knew fairly close to where they lived. And then if we missed them, they called the office and they said, we saw the bus, but they missed us, or the bus hasn't come by. Have they already left? We got their address and we went by and delivered yesterday if we missed them. And then today we were able to help our route. So we cut our route by like an hour and a half today. So it was much easier. And then as we're driving, they may call, and the office may call and say, hey, so-and-so will need a, colored pencils, a set of colored pencils and some paper. Got it. So we put in their bag then that set of colored pencils and paper and whatever they need. We had a student call their principal and say, I'm done with my book. The next two books I am needing are. And
Oh my
so the
goodness.
principal went to our library, checked the two books out for the student, and the two books were delivered to that student. So taking away those barriers for learning. And I'll be honest with you, Lisa, is it perfect? No. Do we have more dittos that I really, more than what I would like to have? Absolutely. But, you've got to do what you've got to do. Um, the way we set it up is a teacher contacts their student. And so for the lower grade levels, we do homeroom. And then for high school, we have mentoring groups, small group mentorings. And so the mentor of that group calls everyone that's in their group. And so we're averaging about 95% in attendance right now. And our teacher then, if they didn't get in touch with someone, in fact, they didn't get in touch with our director of education has students here, and she was on a bus, and so they weren't able to find them. And
Aaron, I'm
so, oh,
gonna
you're show. I see
pull
what you're
you up.
doing
Let me
now.
try to
Yeah,
let everybody hear. This is
yeah.
the post that I found everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Now this is
This is
him and the
yesterday.
principal. This is what he's talking about. See if we can hear him. Can you hear that? Let me pull it out.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, everybody. Can you hear it?
Oh, I did for a second. And I lost it. Yeah, I invite them to look on LinkedIn. I'm doing more of that. That could be another discussion for another day.
Yes, definitely. And that's a little bit of what Aaron's talking about right now. Let me hook my microphone back up so you all can hear me really well.
And then I invite you to follow me on @PilotsCaptain.
Okay.
@PilotsCaptain. We're posting a lot of things on the Twitter page right now as well on my Twitter page. But yeah, so we got on the bus and we did that, and we're taking away barriers. We had a specific child, and we were coming up his road, and he saw us, and you could see him in his window as he saw us. And I thought the kid was going to come through the window because he was so excited to see us. And it was like, okay, how do I get over to them quick enough?
Oh.
And how can I see them and get to them at the same time? We're like, you're going to have to go out of your room into, to the front door and answer the door. But the smiles that we're seeing, and the parents are being so kind to us and so sweet. And it's a great way to continue to build relationships and to be able to ask them, what can I bring you tomorrow? Is everything going on okay with your math? Is there something you're not understanding? Do I need to have, Miss Beverly call you to go over something that you're not understanding? And so we're able to relay those information. I mean, the radio is constant contact and information as we're getting information and details to people to ensure that our students have what they need during this time. Something we haven't talked about is social and emotional learning. And I think this is a big part of SEL, of them seeing us every day. Life is going on. We're okay. They're okay. We're excited about it. And so in this, we need to remember that we're not quarantined by law by some other country, like some other countries are right now. Social distancing, the 6 feet, that doesn't mean that we can't do things like this. This doesn't mean that I can't see people in person. It just means I need to be cautious and do things differently. And sometimes we think, well, different means not doing anything at all. No, it still means doing something. Just do it differently. And so we are hearing more of our teachers, for those that do have availability, to do some games like math games with their teacher. They're doing them with their teacher on Facebook Live and things of that nature. We're doing faculty meetings, professional development through Zoom and Skype and different measures like that. So we're adapting. It's new, but I'm so proud of Fulton County Schools, of our faculty and staff, and the support of our school board,
Mhm.
and willing to try this and do something different. Because
Right.
Lisa, I'll be honest with you, last week I was saying, no way are we doing this, you
Well,
know?
this is why I wanted to share this, because people don't understand the responsibility and the weight of superintendents of schools. I mean, it is a lot more difficult than running a corporation. People do not understand. I've been there myself, and
You have.
you have modeled so much right now of finding a way to address needs and solve problems. Most people are just they don't know what to do. And so I just love the opportunity for sharing of sharing what you're doing right now, because basically you're modeling the cultivation of five-star school as it results to building a culture. And you are building a culture in your school and in your community and in the entire region without even being together.
Mhm.
And so that is really something that is going to take you very far. It's going to impact the academics. It's going to impact the child's opportunities in the future, because they see that they are important to you, and the parents are going to do whatever it takes, regardless of the limited resources that they may have, because they know you are their extended family and you can count on one another. So
Yeah,
thank you for sharing your story. I will be here to support you in any way that I can. As
absolutely.
always, I'm so proud of you all. And I want again to share my screen so that everybody can see you on your LinkedIn. And then, of course, as you know, Aaron has 4 different schools in your school district, right, Aaron? A
Yes,
thousand
sir. Yes,
kids,
ma'am. Yep.
pre-K all the way to 12th grade.
Yeah, actually, I didn't even talk about that. We actually have early Head Start, and so we sent food for our early Head Start students as well.
So all of you who are participating, all of the companies that I'm working with across the nation, uh, for corporate training, I also do corporate training. This is one of our best folks that we want to partner with, America. All of my corporate friends across America, Fulton County Schools, they will, as you can see, they will take care of the resources that you send them. And just find Aaron on LinkedIn. He will respond quickly, or you can call the district office at Fulton
Absolutely.
County Schools and let them know what resources that you might be able to send to his community, whether it be books, school supplies, and definitely financial donations are greatly appreciated. And so, Aaron, thank you so much for being a great model in our nation, and for definitely those who are in rural education. We're so proud of you and all of your school leaders and all of your teachers, because I am telling you,
We are.
you are an amazing group of
They
educators, and
are.
I am so
They
honored
are.
to be able to be serving you.
Thank you,
So
Dr. Lisa.
this has been Educator Circle with Dr. Lisa, Best Practice Wisdom Wednesday with Aaron Collins, and thank you for listening.
Thank you.